Oh, what's up, you guys? Hey, it's Chaz with the Chaz Way Podcast, and I've got some cool guests here today. They're not in here yet, but for now, no, I'm just kidding. So hey, we've got Earl and Laura HIMES here today. This is Earl. That is Laura.
What's up?
Clearly. And today, I wanted to work with you guys on this podcast forever because I think you're cool people. But
that.
because I think it's awesome what you guys do with not only your personal life but your business life as well. So I'll let you guys introduce yourselves, and then I want to talk a little bit about everything, really. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, again, I'm Earl HIMES. This is Laura HIMES. We have, Courage to Conquer podcast. We have construction company. We have Conquering Couple. We have that as well. That's what we call ourselves. That's what we do. And that's what we do.
That's awesome. Yeah. Laura, who are you?
I was like, you're introducing me, so I thought, okay. I am Laura HIMES. You're a better half, by the way. Anyways, we're the Conquering Couple, and we like to give out good energy in the world, and we like to share things with other people, how to make them more successful or better place in life, and just be a better version of themselves. And that's what we enjoy doing. That's our passion. Our construction company, yes, we have a construction company. It's not my passion, but everything else is. So yeah, that's what we do.
Do you feel like the construction company, you said you're quick to say it's not your passion. Do you feel like that's because that is just your avenue?
Yeah, that's where we know it.
Mm-hmm.
We know it so well, so it's easy for us to do, and we make good money doing it. So it's just easy to fall into something that you just know. I think that's it.
But see, what's interesting about that is I think it's common for average people to say like, "Oh, I've just got my construction company; it pays the bills." But what I know about you guys is that's actually not true because you're forward thinkers. Mm-hmm. So like you're like, well, it makes us good money, and so really like it's like, okay, that's your business. It's not your passion. You get to go do your passion projects, which is like the podcast,
yes,
like the branding of some of the things we'll talk about. But you don't just run the construction company. You actually evolve the construction company. You guys progress that company regularly. So while it's not your passion, it is certainly your means to what you are passionate about. So I guess for you, what are you passionate about?
Helping other people win. That's what I'm passionate about.
And your business provides that too.
Yeah. Helping other people win, helping people that may have not had the best experience, the best past, be able to overcome statistic and provide for their families and take care of their families. It feels good to know all the people that work with us because we know where they started and where they are now, and to know that every single one of those families are better since they've gotten with us makes us proud. It's kind of like my babies, and I'll get emotional about it because I do care so much. It's what keeps me going. It's not just about me and Earl. It's about the 30 or 40 families that are involved with us and being able to help them and to move forward. And I am very passionate. We're good at the construction companies, what we do, but it's providing us means to do the other things that I think are going to impact other people's lives in a bigger way. Mm-hmm. So I try to look at the bigger picture of where we're going and all the people that rely on us every day for a paycheck and stuff to take care of their families. And we have some of the best people that love working with us that, and it's like changing lives, seeing where they went, where they were and where they're going now, and they have nicer houses and nicer things, and just being able to work side by side and seeing them grow into the person they're meant to be is awesome for me. So
I think that is awesome, and I think that's important as well. We'll talk about a lot of different things, but I know Earl and Laura through basically Earl's brother and I are in real estate together. He's super successful in real estate. We work in the same office, and then I met Earl through Otis, and then obviously Laura as well. When we talked about the podcast, and we talked about early on about like what like Conquering Construction was about, I remember that one of the first things you said was that it's a second chance company, which you're really hitting on that. You're not saying those words, but that really is what you're talking about. One thing I love about the atmosphere at the office is when you come in, you see very normal, very average, quote unquote, people. I think that's awesome because I think it really says, hey, we're just real people. And you're attracting real people. And the second chance part of it is like kind of the extra bonus blessing because you give people opportunities that maybe they wouldn't have had, right?
Yes.
But in that, and maybe you guys think about this, maybe you don't, but because of the way you guys are living your life, the personal development, the self-discipline, the affirmations, just the daily lifestyle that you guys choose to live, which is not average, by the way, you are rubbing off on those people. And sometimes I'm sure you have some testimony, some stories on that, but then there may be times where you leave and you're like, man, we didn't nail it today. But what I would say is I bet that those people are all sponges, at least to some, maybe some more than others. Some may not be ready to receive yet, but others are. And I feel like I see that when I come in. I feel like you see just normal people that they respect you guys, but I also think they appreciate you guys. And I think when it comes to employment, that's a big deal. You don't always see that. So why Earl? Why the second chance? What made you decide to go that route? Because you don't have to go that route, but you choose to.
Right. Well, a couple things for us on the construction company. To me, it's a great segue into a wide variety of people. You get to meet people from everywhere, because construction is something that brings everybody back together in one way, shape, or form. Something, house, office, business, whatever. That's that right there. The second chance part is we've all failed at something in our life. The thing I say to a lot of people is the biggest thing, like you mentioned a while ago, was about being normal or whatever, is we're all the same. Nobody's better than anybody else. Everybody can do the same thing. They put their minds to it, they can achieve it. I always believe that. And also something else I say to people is the difference between you and I is you got caught and I didn't. We've all done things certain times, I'm sure, in our life where if we've been there at the right spot or somebody would have drove by, we might be the one behind bars for a few days or, in situations. So I say that to relate with people, but people make mistakes in life. We all do. And for us, it's the way to, hey, I made a mistake. Let me figure it out and let me move on. And we want to give them the opportunity to move on with their life, to start the life they want to. Yes, they've been held back for whatever reason, whatever happened back then, but now they can just give them the opportunity to do that, to go. Because a lot of times once they get a background or anything, nobody wants to hire them. And it depends on what the situation is with us, of course. But, messed up when they were 18 years old, and there's no reason you got to pay for that the rest of your life. No, you've already served your time. You've done it. Let's make a change and let's move on.
I agree. And I don't think your past determines your future. And I think that's a perfect example. Like you talk about being 18, maybe you have a 35 or a 40-year-old that has just not really had the best opportunities because of their past. Well, that doesn't define who they are today.
Not at all.
By any means, and I think that's important to know. I also think that it's interesting because you do give so many opportunities to different people. And you kind of touched about like whatever, well, I don't know the words you use, but in my head, I was hearing you talk about, and maybe it's because I know you guys, you really are open to setting people up to grow their life however they choose. Like you don't have to be married to this business, this office, this company. Like if you're willing to give the tools, give the opportunity, and let them fly. If they choose to fly, not everybody's going to fly, right? No. So one thing that's really important to me, and I talk about this on the podcast a lot, is I believe so strongly, I want to encourage people to take their life from average to above average, from ordinary to extraordinary. And not everybody has the mindset of that. So let's shift gears a little bit. Why for you guys have you chosen to decide to not just live average? You talk about the construction company and how it's not my passion. Really, regardless of that, it's like we clock in, we clock out, that kind of business. You've chosen to not just have your life is not just your business. Your life is a lot of the other things and a lot of the passions that you talked about. But why? What was the light switch? Because normal is also average, and normal clocks in, clocks out, goes home, shuts it off.
You want this first?
For me, I think we talked earlier about imprinting. Is my dad owned a business my entire life. So my dad had a restaurant, rental properties, a tire store, and all this stuff. So I grew up with an entrepreneur, role model in my house. Yeah. And my mom always worked with my dad. And I thought that was great because they were able to spend that time together. So I grew up with that example. My dad set me down at a young age. I used to manage a club for him, a nightclub, and he set me down and he would teach me by saying, okay, you're not writing anything down, but you're going to count how many people come through, how much should be on the door and cover charge. You're going to watch the bar, and I want you to tell me how many Coors Light, he literally, I had to do the math and go, okay, you had this many people on the door. It was $5 a person. This is what it should be. But I think your guy's skimming from you because there's only this much in it. I literally, and it was his best friend of 20-some years stealing from him. And, but my dad taught me, and there was something about that moment in my life that I thought I felt important. I dropped out of school at my sophomore year. I didn't finish school. And I went on when I was in my 20s to get my GED. And I had a lot of people say, oh, well, you dropped out. You're never going to make it. You're never going to be anything. And I think living with my dad, there's me and my sister. I had 9 brothers and sisters, and my mom and dad had foster a couple. The 9 that I had were all in the penitentiary and in and out of jail. Me and my sister were the only 2 that wasn't out of all the children.
Wow.
So I seen my dad go through that. And one of the things for me is I had asked my brother, he'd been in there most of my life. And when he got out, I asked him, why did he keep going back? And what really stuck with me, he said, because it's easier on the inside than it is out here. Nobody will give me a chance. I know what's to expect in there. I don't know what to expect out here.
Sadly, it's comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. And so at that, I was like 14 years old and I thought, man, that's crazy. Like, you'd rather be in jail? Like, you don't have your freedom. But he said it was easier for him there. He knew what to expect. And nobody, once he had that on him, it's like nobody wanted anything to do with him. Nobody would hire him and stuff. And I always knew that if I got older and ever had the opportunity, and I always knew I would own a business. I knew I had that in me. So that was instilled in me at a very young age. And my dad had actually said to my mom when I was in my early 20s, I was talking to him about the business and stuff. And he said, I was trying to help him with his rental properties. And he said, that girl's got a business head on her shoulders. And it was like the best compliment, and sadly, my dad passed away before he ever see me have my first business. And so I don't know. It's just something I've always been like, don't look at me, make me cry. I've always been like, I'm making my daddy proud.
Yeah.
I was there when my dad took his last breath, holding his hand. So it's always, I thought my dad can see me doing this and
100%.
And
he knows, and he is responsible for it. So at the end of the day, really what you do know is that it's because of those, just like the footprint that he laid for you. That's really
I always knew, even dropping out of school, I always knew that I was more than what everybody else was around me. I always had a drive. I always liked to read books. Always read a lot of books. I didn't have the same things everybody else wanted to go out and party and do all the same. I didn't have that drive. I started out at Dairy Queen at 12 years old. By the time I was 18, I was assistant manager, and I just grew up. And so every job I had, I went right into management into it. But I always knew that I wanted more and I was always looking for the next step. And when I decided to have my own business, I thought, that will let me grow because, when I became a manager at Brahms, I'm like, okay, what's the next step? District manager? Well, then I'm like, okay, well, then when is it? And then I went into department management because I was like, okay, let's do rental properties. And I was trying different things. And that's the thing about me and Earl is like, I've had management experience in working for other people where Earl's always worked for herself. But I think those skills I learned from different companies has really helped me with ours because I got those experiences of how those other companies ran their business. I think that helped.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It set you up.
Yes.
Another piece of setting you up for where you are today. What about you, Earl? Why'd you choose not to just live the average day-to-day, clock in, clock out? I'm gonna bet it has a lot to do with how you were raised. I just touched your knee. That wasn't on purpose. Sorry.
Cool.
Tell me.
You know Otis, of course. Yeah, so we were raised kind of similar way. I mean, our father had his own business, so he had multiple things he would do all the time as well. And for me, at a young age, it was time, my time freedom for me, to where if I want to do something, if I want to take a 2-hour lunch to meet somebody and we have a 2-hour lunch, I can do that. If I want to leave in the afternoon, like I did, to go see my kids play ball at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I can do that. There were many times I was the only parent in the stands watching my daughter play softball, watching my son play baseball, and nobody else was there because nobody can get off work. And it's something people just don't understand what time is. And the older we get, we definitely understand time. And nowadays, there's so much going on about how you can live by the calendar, live by the clock, to where you get much out of this life as you can by time. That's how that is. And a second ago, you talked about how the people who work with us, their goals and stuff in their life. You mentioned that a while ago. And we try to envision, I was going to touch back on that for a second, was we share our vision for ourselves, our company, how we want to do things eventually across this country, maybe across the world, definitely for things we want to do. And I ask every person I interview, what's their goals in their life? What are things they want to do? So it all fits within that. If we can make that happen for that person, for their family, for their children, then they'll be on board with what we want to do. And it helps everybody else. So therefore, you got like-minded, you got the same values, you're all going for the same causes. And being construction, maybe not say our purpose, but then again, it's okay to have a business that you're not your passion, but if it makes you money, it's okay to have it. Then that's what gets you to the things you want that you do have purpose in.
Yeah, 100%. And you are. and that doesn't that don't sweep under the rug the fact that you're blessing people, you're helping people have an opportunity, not just the second chance part of it, but in general. I mean, you're keeping people employed. So again, while it doesn't have to be the passion project, it is certainly the means. But it's not even just for you. There's layers to it. There's the layers of the people that you're giving opportunities to.
It gets at, because we talked about that the other day about what you just said right there, because we had a meeting about these things, where we're going, our vision, and how they are all, what they want out of that, to
That's good.
be part of what we're doing and the growth we want to have for that. Are they, is this fit to what they want to do? Can we put them, can we have trust in them and faith in them, and does it help them what they want to do the next several years? So we definitely had that. And it's funny you mentioned Josh, because her and I, we talk about the whole AI thing. We've talked about it, and I have such a hard time with that right now, because I want to make sure we have people that need jobs. Okay. So when you put something on the computer that takes away 3 people, then nothing for them to do, then that's no good at all. Now for us, we're going to fight it as long as we possibly can. But it's going to come a time, even in construction, it's kind of weird, but still in construction, where AI and robotics and all this is taking over, that for us is, if, say, we get AI to start handling scheduling, for instance right there, well, we're going to find places for our schedulers to be doing something else. Not just, sorry, you got to work.
Create positions.
We're not going to be Walmart, where, I'm sorry, no more cashiers, all self checkout, too bad, go home. Or not put you 20 hours a week, put you part-time, like Amazon stuff does. So that reason right there is for that whole AI thing, whatever. But anyway, sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
I get going on stuff.
It's good. So let's shift gears a little bit. So now we know about your business. We know why. We know that it's the means, and we kind of understand now where you guys both get it from. Where'd you get each other from, though? Now, let's talk about the fun stuff. Like, how do y'all know each other?
That can be a touchy subject in a way sometimes, but
well, I mean, Laura's talking about the bar when she was like, did y'all meet because he was the regular?
We met at a
club.
club. We met at a club.
Oh, you really did?
We met at a club.
Which strip club was it? Oh, my bad.
That was after. That was afterwards. So, but no, we met at a club and stuff. It was a birthday party, and we're talking, and she talked about the business and how all that.
She was trying to
open a restaurant.
Oh, I thought you meant like giving you the business. I was like, oh shit, what kind of conversation was that?
But no, just running a business, owning a business, opening a restaurant, and we were talking about business. And I was like, holy crap, where in the hell has she been?
Wow,
this is awesome.
Like, she gets it.
Yeah, she understands. She understands these things. So that was awesome. That's how it started. Now, so actually, I met her, didn't have her number. She told a few places she was looking at, and I was literally driving around trying to find where she might be working at and doing things. I had to find her again.
I told you of a restaurant I wanted to open up, and I said I was looking at a building to see if I could lease it to open up this restaurant, and then you were trying to stalk me. It was kind of funny. Well, it was kind of weird is because I had actually, we found out through all this, he had went to the church. You had just left going to a church that I had just started attending.
Wow.
And then I used to manage a restaurant. I used to manage Brahms in Salina, Kansas. And he was down there at that same time. What was you doing down there gathering, oh my gosh, the stuff for the flowers or something? You guys had went down there. And he was there at the time that I was at that Brahms. Our paths crossed when we started talking through the years, like in Salina, Kansas, and you're all the way from Oklahoma, and you're down there in Salina, Kansas at the same time. I managed a store right on the interstate.
Wow.
So it's just kind of weird. And then he had went to a church that he had just left. He was actually teaching class or something there. And I started going to that same church. So it's kind of funny how we...
Yeah, I don't think anything happens by accident.
Yeah,
things happen.
yeah.
That's
What
crazy.
I said.
How long ago was that y'all met?
Almost 15 years ago.
So there's definitely some similarities in mindset as far as like, it sounds like you were impressed that she even knew how to talk business.
Right.
What were you impressed with? Or was it just his arms?
No, actually, I felt like I was really shy to you. I just kind of walked up and said, hey, how's it going? I did walk up to you.
She walked up. How shy was that? So
It's not very shy.
I did walk up and I said, hey, how's it going? That's why I said,
Hey,
to you.
businessman.
He did look like he was smart.
Okay.
Yeah, he did have that look to him like he was smart. And then he told me he owned a business and stuff. And I was like, oh, really? And I didn't really just go up and just talk to random dudes at a club, okay? I'm not that one. But the conversation was nice because he he was listening to me and he made eye contact with me, so it's a big thing. And so the whole time talking, he made eye contact and stuff. And I was like, wow, it was a couple months later before I seen you again. And yeah, I think it was that moment. I was like, oh man. And then later when I found out he was trying to stalk me, looking for me, I was like, oh.
You're like, I could go for a little stalker action.
Stalker here. Kind
He
of creepy,
likes
but yeah.
me. He likes me. All right, so that's interesting. That was 14, 15 years ago?
Yes.
And, okay, so.
We just celebrated our 9th anniversary.
Of being married?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Did y'all dated that whole time?
5 years, yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
You weren't sure if she was the one?
I said I wasn't going to get married.
Okay.
I told him from the beginning,
I went through that phase.
I said, I like you. We can live together forever. I'm not ever going to marry you because I've done it twice before and I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And so.
And were you?
And he was the same way.
Yes, I was the same way.
So you like it aligned. You weren't like, screw you, I'm out. You were like, okay, we'll roll with it.
Yeah.
Well, here's what happened.
The truth comes out.
Because we've been through previous relationships and
Yes.
like, okay, which this has kind of helped bring us all this back together for us as far as how marriage should be seen. But we were in Vegas working, and we're staying in a little condo, and I'm sitting at the table working on something, and she's cooking right there, or doing a little cleaning right there in the kitchen, little small little condo, and out of nowhere, she goes, I think I want to get married. I look up, I go, whoa, hang, wait a minute now. Wait a minute, you said never get married. Well, I'm just saying, I think I might want to. And if that's not going to be a thing, then maybe we might need to do something different. Like take it or leave it.
Wow. Not okay. So this is Earl's version of it. So I remember sweeping the floor.
She was sleeping.
And I said, hey, I said, I know I said I would never get married, but I could see myself marrying you. That's how I said it. And then you looked at me and I said, we have a lot in common. We like the same things. We're running a business together. We've been together 5 years. You're like my best friend. I didn't know how perfect he was, and don't get a big head, until we were together 5 years. And I thought, man, this is my person. Like we share so much common interest. We have so much, I said, I think I would. And then when you acted crazy, which I felt like you just looked at me crazy. And then
Did you get all insecure? Did you get all insecure when that happened?
I said,
maybe he doesn't want to be with me.
Yeah, exactly. And I said, if you don't want to ever get married, then maybe I need to rethink this because we're 5 years in, and he goes, you're the one that said you didn't want to from the beginning. I go, I understand because I didn't think you were going to work out. I'll be honest with you. We're 5 years in, and now I realize how much we have in common, and we want the same things. And I never thought I would find that person.
Yeah.
When you've been married before, you fear at some point you're like, this ain't for me. It doesn't work out. Whatever. It must be me. It's 2 marriages. I'm the common denominator. It's got to be me. You don't realize that it's just you just hadn't found the right person that you wanted to make that commitment with.
Yeah.
And but you didn't propose for a good. It was 6 months or so later, because we weren't even living in that condo. We moved into a house, and you could talk about that part.
Moved to a house, yeah, sure enough.
When you proposed.
Yes. Yep, we were in the pool, chilling out and everything, and then that's where I proposed to her, right in the pool.
On bended knee.
No, not bended.
You were
I was in
standing.
the water.
Oh yeah.
And, so I'd have been drowning.
Yeah,
So
that would
wouldn't
not
have
be-
worked. So, but I proposed her, right there, grabbed her, put her arms around her, then asked her to marry me.
She
And
said.
then she about drowned me after she said yes.
I literally, I stopped and you go, okay, because I didn't know what to say. I was shocked. We had a couple drinks. I was like, this has to be the alcohol.
Did you have it planned, or was it because of the drinks? Did you know you were going to ask her then?
Oh yeah,
Be
no, I
honest.
knew I was going to ask. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Oh, you had to ring everything. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh yeah.
It was like a waterproof ring. You're like, let me get this out of my floaty. Hang on a second.
My floaty.
Right.
I talked to her. She got mad about this, but I talked to a couple of friends about it.
So they knew before
So
you.
they knew before she did.
I can't believe.
So see, yeah, I thought about it. And yeah.
That's cool.
Now, he did not say yes at the condo. He made me sweat it out for about, it was like
That's okay. He
at
had to
least
think
6
about it.
months. But, it was a big thing. And I was just letting him know that I was okay if he wanted to do that with me, that's something I never thought I would look for. And now I'm actually thinking about it because I just, you don't know. And after being together for 5 years, you learn a lot about each other. And I realized, hey, this person's a hard worker. This person's dedicated.
Yeah. This
person knows what he wants and he's going to get it. And this is a person I could see myself moving through life with, But to me, marriage is a very big commitment. You're making it, it's supposed to be for better, worse, sickness, and health till death do you part. No matter what, you're supposed to fix it. You're supposed to work it out. And because I had 2 failed marriages before that, I just felt like there's never going to be that person willing to, your ride or die person, like no matter what, they're there.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants that. People don't really care about that. And to me, like, you fix it. Like, yeah, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to have arguments. Okay, we have an argument, but that doesn't mean we're getting divorced. That doesn't mean one of us should be leaving. There's certain things I feel like the marriage is done when there's infidelity, and that's happened more than once. I feel like there's a point where, okay, we're done. And so, and it makes you scared to kind of go down that road. I feel like it was a more safe thing for me. Like, hey, if I don't tie my ring to this, if, like he says, hey, if this don't work, I can still leave. I ain't got to go through all this other crap or what have you. But after 5 years of being with somebody and learning, wow, like, where have you been my whole entire life? Like, he knows, like, I seriously, if he calls me and I'm with somebody, I tell them to hold on and I answer his call. Like, I never just ignore him. Like, I always put him first before myself. And I always have. And he may think I don't, but I'm like, if I don't, I'm like, oh, hang on. Hey, babe, can I call it back? It's out of respect thing because he is my person. Like, he's here. Like, he's first before my children, my grandchildren. He's going to be first because this is the person I'm growing old with,
I love that. That's not, it's not always like that, obviously.
Right.
Crazy.
No,
She wants you to hold it. Her arm's getting tired. She's like, he's such a diva.
Oh, such a diva.
Hold my mic.
Such a diva.
You want waited on.
I do. That's true. I do. But no, marriage is definitely something I've always, same thing, taken very seriously. And when my marriage didn't work out, it's one of those things where maybe not, but with us being together and the things we've gone through, and we, like we talked about before, is, there's things we don't get along with sometimes, but we talk about it, we figure it out, we keep on going. It don't mean, that's it, we're out, we're leaving, because part about not being married, I think subconsciously in a way, that's your out. Well, we're not married, I can leave anytime.
Yeah.
In this day and age, like we kind of talked about, it's, well, I'm not married, I can still leave anytime. There's nothing really tying me here. Even though you have a family, you got kids, you got everything going on, well, we're not married, so I can still just leave
like
anytime.
an easy exit plan.
Is it totally, yep, that's your plan B exit strategy,
Yeah.
If it don't work out, is what I'm going to do. And so that's why we come back to Oklahoma, got back involved with church, and I was doing things with Switch, with the teenagers, and I talked to her and said, hey, we're living a life of, infidelity, and that's not how we was raised. We shouldn't be teaching kids this. How can I be talking to kids how to live life if I'm not doing something I should be doing? Kind of practice what you preach, lead by example. And so Eric and Dorothy, friends of ours, he's a pastor. We went over to their house and married us right there.
Wow, that's awesome.
And so we got that done. That way, we can. This is what we know, and we use everything we do. Part of our failures, and that's what we use to other people. We're not perfect by any means.
Yeah, it's
And
just
so
part of your
we share
testimony.
it, part of it.
Yeah, no, I love that. So it's interesting. Okay, that's good to know those things. It's good to know. But now let's talk about the hard parts of relationships. So we just recorded their podcast, and you guys were talking about like what it's like to be the man, what it's like to be the woman. So like in a 2-minute version, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you feel like your role is as a man? Give me like the short version of that.
Shortest version is the man's supposed to be taking care of the woman. That's what's supposed to happen. Is in any way, shape, or form. Is take care of her needs, what she wants, take care of the family, make sure the kids are provided for, she's provided for. She needs a form of transportation to go where she needs to, food, clothing. And there's different areas there of what things consist of, like getting your nails done and hair did, all that. That's kind of be different things. But you want to give your wife all those things to live the life she wants to live. And it's your responsibility as a man to supply and support all those things for your family. That's what being a man's about. And I popped off what I popped off. Nowadays it's hard to find that. So that's my thought of how a man's supposed to be.
That was less than 2 minutes. I'm proud. Hey, did you do that because you know she's going to need more than 2 minutes to answer?
Yes.
Okay. He's like, as part of your sacrifice as a man, you're like, I'm going to do this in 33 seconds. You've got the floor for...
I'm a typical man. She's a typical woman. I'm faster than she is.
Whoa! All right. So what about you, though? Seriously, like what do you think the role is of a woman? Then I'm going to give a switcheroo to y'all after this.
So to me as a wife, I put my husband before myself, and I always have. I care more about taking care of him and his needs than I do myself. You've got to really be a selfless person. I feel like I take care of the house. I clean. I do his laundry. I color code. All of his clothes all the black shirts are together, the blue shirts together. I take care of all that. I take care of all the other stuff that he's wanting. But I support his vision and his dream and what he's wanting to do. One thing I don't do, and it's one, and I will not. It's something that I see it happen a lot. I will never put him down in front of another person, even if we're having a disagreement or a fight, or we're not agreeing about something. I'm not going to call him out in front of a group of people or anything. I think that's belittling. I don't talk down to him. If I don't agree about something, I'll tell him later when it's just me and him, like, hey, when you said this, I really didn't like how you said it because it really bothered me, but I'm not going to call him out in front of people. I think doing that takes away him being the man of the relationship. Sure. I feel like it's demeaning. And it takes away, we're one. And I feel like when other couples, you see this happen where, well, my wife's this or my, husband's this or whatever, I feel it brings the value of the relationship down, and it doesn't, I hold him on a little pedestal, even though in my mind, he's this perfect little person. He may not be this perfect little person I hold him to be, but as far as everybody else is concerned, he's this perfect little person. If he has dreams and desires, I want to be right there beside him to get whatever it is he's desiring to get. That's what I want to be. Team. I want to be a team with him. And I feel like, I choose to work. Earl's never asked me to work. I've always had a desire to build something great. We want to have $1 billion brand at some point, and I'm building that with him. But I like to help him. I'm proud of him, and I'm proud of what he wants, and I'm proud of the vision that he has for us. And it means a lot to me. I'm very proud to have his name. I'm proud to wear his ring.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So while you've got the mic,
Sorry.
do you? Now you did pretty good. I think it was less than 5. So over 2, less than 5.
I'm a talker, guys.
Hey, me too. Or I get it. Okay, so while you've got the mic, what about the people that didn't have that example? So, for example, I grew up with a mom, no dad. I remember when I was married, and at one point, right before I divorced my wife many years ago, she was like, You don't know how to fight for a relationship because you've never seen it. Because my mom was single my whole life.
Yeah.
So what about those situations? Like, yes, that I think in a nutshell, your answers are those are pretty direct answers. Like, I think there's some gray, and I think everybody's role can adjust. Mm-hmm. But what do you say to the person out there that's like, the woman out there that's like, but I don't know that life.
Yeah.
Like, because I think it's, when I was listening to you guys record that, in my head, I'm like, but I wasn't, like, I didn't have those. Some of those things I didn't have. It's like, it hits home,
Yeah.
So where do you so what do you say to somebody? Like, if you could, I guess the question is, what about the person that doesn't have that example?
So I have somebody in my life who does not treat their husband the way they should. And I love this person to death, and I have a couple people like this, and I've had conversations with them, and I said, hey, if you put the shoe on the other foot and he was to talk to you this way in front of somebody, how does it make you feel? Well, I don't like he's not going to do that. Okay, but you're doing it to him. So when you do that to him, how do you think you're making him feel? I said, just think about this. I just want you to think about, and I really try to lead by example. And I feel like it's kind of like when people say you drip on people or whatever. When they see you constantly, and I've noticed this, they see how I treat him. I notice that when they're around me, they're learning that because they're also doing it. And I've had conversations like, I know that it's just not natural for some people to go, oh my gosh, no, it's equality. I'm just as important. Well, I know you're just as important, but if you want him to treat you a certain way, you have to be respectful to treat. He's not going to just do it because you're the woman and you should have it. And so I've had conversations with friends. I've had deep conversations with them. And I said, hey, what is it you're wanting? What is it about this person that made you fall in love with them? What is it that you liked about him? Oh, well, I like this and this. I said, okay, well, how did you lose that upon the way? And they'll tell me, well, he did this or he did this. I said, okay, do you guys do date night together? You need to fall back in love with that person. I feel like they had a strong relationship at the beginning. They loved each other. They did everything together. And along the way, there was trust broken and things happened. And one of the people just never really got over it. I feel like that holds a lot to what happened there. But I try to show people, you're never going to have all the answers when you go into a relationship. But if you truly look at it and you go, okay, how do I want to be treated? Okay, how am I going to get that? If I treat him like crap and talk down to him, he's not going to want to hold me like a little queen and say, "Oh, here's my queen." He's not going to do that. And I feel like that's why we wanted to do the podcast. Why we wanted to, I'm writing a book right now to help women, because I feel like there is a lot of women that have had struggles and they haven't had good examples at home. So they don't know. And you don't know what you don't know.
That's
why
exactly.
You just don't. And so I feel like writing the book and putting it out there and sharing with my life with people, like how to be the person that I am, that I've become for him. And it's not always easy. I love my husband, Def, but he's not the easiest person in the world. There's times he's very stubborn, and he'll tell you he can be very stubborn at times, and he could be very, but he gives me what I want, but he really does fight for what he really believes in. But he'll give it on the little things. Like I don't need to fight that battle. I'll give you this little thing over here. But when I see that he really, really wants something, I realize how important it is to him. Then I'm all in, because I know, okay, this is like, he really wants this.
Means something,
yeah. Even though I may not see it the way he sees it, he still wants it, and because I love and care for him. I want him to have that.
You're going to support it. Yep.
Yeah.
So what about just one piece of advice? The person that's out there watching, the lady that just really doesn't even resonate with what you're saying because she doesn't know. So what's just what's a micro piece of advice? Like you talked about your friends, and you kind of will sprinkle or drip in maybe some examples, or you can have those. Maybe a little bit more, you can have some open conversations with people. But what about somebody who's just like, okay, but where would I even start? Like, what would you say?
I think you need to start with yourself. I think you really need to look at what has made you this way. Write it down. I think journaling is really good, because I noticed when I journal, because I didn't have the best role model as a mom. My mom was not there a lot for me. I was raised by a nanny. I didn't have that motherly. So when Earl's mom came in the picture, she became my mom, and, but I think if you look at, okay, what are the things in your life that's happened? And if you write it down, like, where did I lose faith in a relationship? Where did I lose trust? What happened? If you look back at your life, somebody may have done something to you that maybe caused that trust, or you didn't have two parents at home, and you say, okay, and I did this because I didn't have a good role model. I had wrote out one time what I was upset about as a child and what I wanted to do different for my kids. And then I wrote out what type of Nana I was going to be someday. And so I wanted opposite of what I had received. So when I wrote out the things I didn't like, I knew that was the plan. Yeah. These are the things I don't ever want to be. Yeah. So if you write out, okay, this is what makes me angry. This is what makes me sad. This is why I don't trust marriage. This is why I don't trust my husband. This is why, and you write those things out and you go, okay, how do I fix this one? Yeah. What's the opposite of this? Sure. What can I do to make this? Yeah. And how can I learn to trust again? That's really good. I feel like what caused, there's a root to every single female of what caused her, whether she got beat, whether it was because she didn't have a mom or her parents were into drugs. There's a reason why she has trust issues. I had trust issues. I had a spouse who cheated on me. So I'm going to be my own person. I'm going to do I'm very strong-headed. I'm still strong-headed because of that. But when I wrote out all the things, and I did this on a paper, I journal. I have a lot of journals. But if you write out all the things that you're not happy with yourself, or that you feel like why your relationships aren't going good or what have you, and then you go, okay, how do I fix that? Like, what can I do? Now, it takes baby steps. It's not just anybody can just do it overnight and go, oh, okay, now I trust you now. No, it takes learning the other person. It takes spending time with them and communicating and saying, hey, I've said this to Earl when we first got together. I literally said, it's not something that you've done. It's because of stuff that I've carried into this relationship from other relationships. Yeah. So it's not you.
Things that you've worked through.
Yeah.
For sure. So, general synopsis of that would be, what I'm hearing is write it down. Write it down. Put it in front of you. It's funny because I didn't have a dad, but my son's my world. And it would have been so easy to go that route. Like, I don't know. Here I am saying to you, like, I don't know all those examples of things. Well, I didn't have an example, but even though I didn't write it down, I did exactly what you're talking about. I knew what I didn't have. And I knew what I never wanted to do to somebody else.
That's right.
And at that point, my commitment immediately, the day I found out I was going to be a dad, that was my commitment.
Yeah.
Even so far as I remember, even when I was 17, I remember thinking I will never miss a doctor's appointment because I am all in with this. You know?
Yep.
So it's very similar. But I think the answer to that, to somebody who's watching or listening, is write it down, put it in front of you. You don't have to share it with anybody, but write it down wherever you write down. Put it in your phone notes, and then really evaluate that so that you can make adjustments.
Yeah.
And even if it's baby steps, even if it's little micro decisions, one little thing that you could change, because you're talking about like, well, I know this, but I want to be this. Well, you can start with one of those.
That's right.
And maybe by the end of that list, maybe you've knocked out all 30 of them.
Yeah.
And now you're the woman that you want to be, and you're able to be the spouse that you that maybe God really created you to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I knew what I did not like, and I knew that I wasn't ever wanting to be that person.
Sure. So you figure out what needs to change.
Yeah.
What about you? Just an example of, I mean, if you're going to give an example to somebody, or even just some advice.
Couple of things there, because like you talked about not having a father, single mother. For me, because like single mother, single father, raising kids, you can't really watch the relationship. It's up to the parent to, if you don't have somebody there for you to look up to for as a mentor, put it that way. You can also find someone, that's why sports is so great, is get them into sports, and that way they have a coach. They have, things doing a manly thing, but also you see how they mentor the younger men. And so that's the other thing should go with that.
Yeah.
Certain books, like I did a job for a lady a couple of years ago up north, single mother. Her boy is 12, 13 years old. He's in basketball. She's giving him John Maxwell books, Tony Robbins. She's feeding him those things to become a better man that way, because she can't show personally, because she said, I'm a woman.
Yeah.
I can only do so much for him.
She only knows what she knows.
Yeah, she only knows what she knows. So she's giving him the opportunity to look at other men, get involved with other manly things to learn from them.
Yeah. So
there's ways to go about that.
Absolutely. And that's what I hear from that is that is a cheat code for somebody, or an opportunity for somebody. So what comes to mind is, we all talk about personal development. So I remember I talk about this, you're the sum of your 5 friends, you're the average of the people around you. And we've maybe even talked about this off the air, but there's been times in my life where I had nobody that was like-minded or above, right? Which, if you want to grow, like-minded or above, right? There's your nugget. But the reality is, you don't always have that in your true heartbeat circle around you. So there may not be, if we're like, let's get 5 of us together, there may not be 5, maybe there's 3, or maybe there's been seasons in my life where there was 1. So I went, okay, well, where do I find those people? Who do I look up to? I look up to Ed Milet. I look up to Bradley. I look up to God. I look up to a pastor, so-and-so. And then what I did is I just did a deep dive into the area, so that I became one of those 5 people. It wasn't in real, they weren't heartbeat next to me, but I was being fed by those things that were educational. So like in your case, she's a single mom. She doesn't know there are things you just don't know how to do. She was able to, you can find those things in other areas.
Right.
And
there's always a way.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. But once you do come aware of that, then that's when you take action on those things to do that for your children.
Sure. And I think it's your responsibility at that point.
Totally responsible.
Once you know.
Once you're aware,
your excuse is gone.
then you're totally just, yes, totally.
Yeah.
And something you mentioned a second ago, and y'all both mentioned writing things down. A lot of times, something simple, and you basically hit on this, it's not things how you want to do things, it's things for sure that you don't want to do.
Sure.
Put down the things the person you don't want to become. Because a lot of times, well, your goals in life, well, I really don't have any. What are things you don't want to do?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to be this way. Well, once you start writing down the things you don't want, it's a whole lot easier then to figure out the things you want, because it's opposite.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to be broke. Well, then you want to be rich. Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Those kind of things. So therefore, it's so much easier to write down the things you don't want to be, become. So those things right there.
No, I agree, and I think that, again, with a desire to help people know that they can be more than they are today, like you're created to do big and great things. I think this whole example is, it does start with micro decisions, and it starts with figuring out what it is and that you want to do, and then just put an action plan together. I talked to a friend who I've known dearly for probably 20 years, and she's just kind of lived a very, very vanilla life. And like last week, people always ask me, like, are you really great? I'm like, yeah, I'm great. Well, how are you so positive? Because it's a choice. Because I get to be. And I'm very aware that I get to be happy. So, and the person was just talking about her 9-to-5 job, and she's like, man, I just don't like this. And I'm like, well, it's a choice. Oh, I hate that I have to be here. I hate that I have to be here? I said, And my response was, you don't. And guess what? No response. Because they don't know. You only know what you know. So she only knows the safety net. She only knows that as long as I go to work on time and I sit there and I'm a yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir person, stay within the parameters of that cookie cutter life, that's what you know. And my answer is like, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Like if you want to be there at 2 p.m. to go to your kid's ball game, what'd you do? You figured it out.
Yep.
You just figure it out.
Yeah, and fear is the people are so afraid of what's going to happen. And we deal with everybody all the time. Well, I'm scared of this. I'm scared of that. And I'm pretty sure it's like 92% of every single thing a person's afraid of never even happens.
Absolutely.
Never even happens.
I'm guilty of that.
Anxiety, also fear. Oh my gosh, what if? What if? Well, the what ifs never even come around.
Yeah.
So once you understand that, because we're taking some steps this year, the next few months, and we're taking some bigger steps here. Hopefully within the next year and a half, we talked about that it's pretty big steps.
Yeah.
And I'm that person. We got a buddy to come by today, see me. Ain't never been there. They're packing up. They're moving to Alaska. And she asked him, "You ever been there?" He goes, "Nope." But
I love it. I love that.
But I'm that guy too. I'm like, you know what? We'll try it out. Sell it all. Boom. Get done. Take what I have to have. And we'll, and I'll buy more stuff. I can buy another TV. I can buy another couch. I can find another place to live and go with it. And let's figure out what it's like. We like it. We don't. So being out of that box, that comfort zone, the 9-to-5 job, people think jobs are so secure. It's not secure at all, because if they're laying off people, if that boss wants to make a decision, he wants to sell the company. We're going a different direction. We've got friends who've had jobs for 15, 18 years at the same place. All of a sudden, they're letting me go.
Yeah, then you really don't know what
Then
to
you
do.
ain't got a clue what to do, because they've got monotonous to that just every day. Just that's what it is. But they're not happy with it, but they don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, it's not they don't know what to do. They know what they want to do.
Too scared.
They're just too scared to go out and just ask somebody. Just say, you mentioned having this circle of friends you mentioned a while ago. Okay, like-minded people is one thing, but then if you are a realtor, okay, and you want to become just get into flipping houses, for instance, to start doing that side of it. Well, you find someone who's successful in that, and you start going and talking to that person to bring them into that circle so you can figure out what that's about.
100%.
Okay, social media, okay? Boom, Chaz is here now. So therefore we can find somebody, so we can find out more about that to become better on our side because of you. So because you're in a circle with more that.
Sure.
So there's ways to bring your circle into to expand and grow your life. You want to be. It's this thing is taking that first step, first thought of going doing it. And everything you just said, it's always a choice. Every single day is a choice.
It is a choice. And it is scary. People talk about, well, what if I fail? And I'm like, well, what if you don't? Like, what if you don't? What if you don't fail? And
can I stand with somebody else? What if I fail? Can I stand that? I can't fail. We had a friend. He would never try anything because he was too afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Great ideas. But what if I fail?
Yeah, and I realize that that's easier said than done. I realize not everybody gets it. Like that is, and that part of that is the mindset, which would also mean like if somebody was taking notes today, I would say add to your notes, get around different people. Because if you're only hanging out with those 9-to-5ers that are making $9.25 an hour, you're gonna always make $9.25 an hour. Hopefully, if you're lucky, and you're gonna only have that 9-to-5 job.
Exactly, it totally is. Yep.
So you want to change, you got to be part of the change, and it is scary. I get it. Like there is no discredit to the fact that it's scary, but everything I've done, like it has taken me getting uncomfortable to get comfortable, if you will. Every step I've had to do, I've had to get out of my comfort zone and let stuff just start stirring. And it's scary. I remember there's been times where I'm talking to God, like God, and I remember so clearly. I can tell you where I was. I'm not going to bore you guys with it. In 2019, there was a day I was driving and I thought, holy crap, what did I do? And I swear God just kind of touched me while I was driving, and He's like, you asked to get uncomfortable. You didn't ask for details on that. You just said get uncomfortable. I gave you an opportunity to get uncomfortable. Now here's your roadmap, but you got to be willing to listen to it. You got to be willing to listen to it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
definitely.
All right. Well, before we wrap up, let's just finish on one thing, and that is 75 Hard. Andy Frizella has this program he started a few years ago, however many years ago. I have tried it 3 times. I think I got to day 27 or 29. Not because I can't, but because I haven't put enough effort into being determined to make it happen. It's an extremely disciplined thing. We've all talked about that. Reality is the discipline of what the program of 75 Hard is. Sure, it's discipline. The bigger discipline is like what happens around it and how much you grow once you've made it through. Correct. You guys just finished it barely a couple of weeks ago. Congrats for finishing it and getting all the way through together. What are a couple things? Yeah, Laura, he gave you permission. What are a few things that you, just a couple things that you took out of it, physically, mentally, emotionally? What out of completing the 75 hard?
Very proud. It made me really look at our life and think. It made me realize how undisciplined we were. Very undisciplined. I'm more excited to start Live Hard because I don't like not being in 75 hard. It became such a routine for us. Everything just flowed. And we've been off of it for a few weeks, and I feel like the days don't flow as good. I feel like I'm more stressed. And I feel like I don't handle the stress as easy as I did when I was in 75 hard. And I feel like I'm not getting enough me time. Even though 75 hard, you have to do so many things, but all those things are working on you.
Yeah.
And so when you stop doing that and then life takes over and you're doing all this other stuff and you're not doing the program, I feel like I'm doing something. I told earlier today, I feel like we're doing something wrong because we're not on 75 hard. I feel like it's became a lifestyle for us. So I feel like I was comfortable there. I'm more uncomfortable not doing the program because I don't feel like I'm pouring into myself like I was then.
Yeah. Well, and you have a template, a roadmap, if you will. You have a template, so you know, like, this is what. I mean, there's you don't.
It was laid out for me. I knew what to do every day.
Yeah, you have
and
a
now
plan.
it's almost like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like I literally find myself going, oh, what am I supposed to be doing right now? Because we had created a system. Every day we got up, we went to the gym, we did this. I mean, the whole day just flowed. When conflict or things would happen, I'm like, I think it made me a happier person. Because just the few weeks of not being on 75 hard, I've noticed, okay, when are we starting to Live Hard? As soon as we come back from vacation, right? Because I'm ready to go. I'm ready to start it because I'm a better person on it.
Yeah.
I handle stress better on it, and I feel like I'm almost kind of lost. It's a weird thing to go so undisciplined and to discipline yourself so strict that when you're not on it for 2 weeks, you feel like you're doing something bad.
Yeah.
Like I literally feel like, God, I feel like I'm cheating. Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not, But I noticed, and I feel like I'm better on the program.
Yeah,
I do
awesome.
feel like that's my part.
What about you? A couple things that
For me, okay, it's helped me out tremendously. A lot better this time than last time. I really didn't.
Did you just wipe a tear out of his eye?
No, it was like a little hair.
He's very emotional about
She's
75
constantly,
hard.
just
I groom you.
ears.
She's primping you.
Constantly. She's always grooming.
Make sure it's pretty.
75 hard for me. It is the mental aspect of it to reprogram your mind to how to live your life, how things should really be.
Yeah.
So for me, it's helped me so much more now. Yeah, I understand, and everything we do, you build that program into your system or your life. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Okay, these are non-negotiable. Oh, we talked about that right the other day. Non-negotiables.
What are your non-negotiables?
Okay. Something. Yeah, I'll share about that later. But anyway, some things are flexible, but this is non-negotiable. Yeah. Anyway, but so basically, 75 hard. These things are non-negotiable. You have to get them done. Okay, so you build in your routines of your day. For me, it helped me tremendously. Is I'm getting the things I needed to get done. Now I'm getting those things done because that's part of my daily life. I got to do mentally. So, like for instance, before I'll put off till tomorrow. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll make that phone call tomorrow. You need to call so and so, take care of the situation. I'll do it later. Okay, now, I don't do it now. Now I make that call right there and get it taken care of. Well, I've still got to get that other workout in. I've got to take that self pick every day. Progress picture, whatever. So if I'm doing that, I need to go ahead and do this.
Yeah.
So for me, it's helped me tremendously that way. Yeah, we're not saying hard. No, we haven't worked out every single day since then. We're still going 80% of the time like we need to. Diet's really been pretty good for both of us. We're still eating healthy because we understand it's more of a lifestyle thing of how we want to live our life. It is a program, but it's the mental discipline of that to teach you how your life should be.
Yeah, and you see what's possible for yourself too, especially completing it, But also, I love that. I think that's awesome. So, you talk about Live Hard. That's basically the next step, or a little bit more discipline. Maybe not a little bit, maybe a lot of it more discipline, but it's the next steps.
It's a Live Hard program is what it's called. It's a year-long Live Hard program. 75 hard is phase 1, basically.
Okay.
Step 1. And then you have phase 1 Live Hard 30 days. And you can start that the next day after 75 hard or wait, whatever. Okay. Phase 2, you got to wait at least 30 days if we can start that.
Okay.
Okay. Phase 3 it's set up to where your last day of phase 3 ends the day before you start 75 hard.
Okay.
So it's a 1 year cycle.
Okay.
A 1 year cycle. So there's going to be time where you're going to be off of it like 200 something days. Okay. So that's the part about that, to bring the discipline to your life, to where you're living this life on it. You don't have to be on this to live this life.
Yes.
You don't need somebody telling you, go eat your Wheaties. Hey, go, do your thing.
Yeah.
You build that into yourself. So you're doing that stuff. And to live hard, that we're going to start when we get back, is those cold ass showers, baby. You got to do those cold showers, baby. It's a 5 minute. It's a 5 minute. It ain't like 30 seconds a minute. It's a 5 minute.
Dude, I can almost nail 30 seconds. I've tried twice, maybe 3 times.
But Tommy steps in, Tommy gets back out. It's about that time. So so no problem. I've been doing cold plunges, showers for several months anyway, so not a big deal. What is live hard? The first phase one. You got that. Oh, you got to be meditate or be visualization for 15 minutes, and then on your critical task, add a couple more of those. For what you're doing for 3 more of those.
Yeah.
For what you got to be done every single day, and that plus the 75 hard stuff. So that plus that, and then phase 2, it's almost back to 75 hard, and then phase 3, everything I talked about plus starting a total conversation with a stranger
I love that.
every single day, shaking a hand with someone every single day, giving to others. Do something. Giving back every single day could be buying somebody the coffee behind you, go donating time,
Sure.
something every single day.
I love it.
So there's a whole
that's a
program
life
for it.
changer, big time life changer. Okay, as we wrap up, the very last thing, you guys are getting ready to go on vacation, which is great because you've been talking about it, and actually you're pretty on time. You said you're doing it in February. It's February right now.
Yeah.
So it's happening. You guys are gonna go to Florida, but it's not just vacation. Now here's the deal: we got 35 seconds each. Start with you. Don't take Earl's time. Really, what are you excited about the vacation? This is, by the way, this is an intentional question. So when you answer it, think about your answer. What are you most excited about?
What am I most excited about the vacation?
Yeah.
Is we're building our future with it.
Boom. There's the answer I was looking for.
We're building our
Because
future.
to me, your vacation, this is a vision vacation.
Yes.
This is not only is it a vision vacation, it better be a write-off vacation.
Oh yeah.
Because it is a
we
business
have
trip.
lots of meetings already set up. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, I mean, okay, what
I'm
about you?
excited about the future. So yeah.
I was going to say growth, change, prosperity.
Yeah. So these guys are going on vacation.
Every vacation we go on, it's always a write off. I'll find somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Something everywhere. Have
As
a
it
meeting,
should be.
How we're doing, so it's all wrote off.
As it should be. So these guys are going on vacation to Florida, and we're joking about the vacation part because it is a vacation. You guys will put your feet in the sand. You're thinking about doing a cold plunge in the ocean, perhaps.
Gonna ride with the
I'm
sharks.
gonna do it.
Swim with the dolphins.
Yeah. But really, the bigger thing is it is a vision trip. It really is a vision trip.
Yeah.
I called it vision vacation. I feel like we should hashtag that because this is the next step for conquering construction.
Yeah.
And for growth, not just in the business, but also in the brand, and just this is just a next step, right? You can't grow
Something we've been working towards for the last 2 years.
Yeah,
It's
so it's
finally-
really
it's
starting to
finally
happen,
happening.
and even
Yeah.
the conversations we've had in the last 6 months, it's to me this is that step, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's good. I'm proud of you guys. It's awesome. I appreciate you guys being on and having the time to just talk to me about these different things.
Yeah.
There's always things I want to ask about. I could actually go on forever because I have so many questions I want to ask. We'll do it another time. We'll do part 2.
Yeah.
One of these days. But cool. All right. Well, let's see. Last thing. This is my third last thing. This is what I do. I ramble. But really, the last thing. Favorite book currently.
Oh, me? Currently?
That's you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moi. Patrick Bet David, Choose Your Enemies Wisely.
Ooh.
It is from the page 1, it gets you right in the nads from page 1.
Okay.
I think
Say it one more time. And the author.
Patrick Bet David is the author, and it's Choose Your Enemies Wisely.
Okay. I'll put that in the description too, so people can find it, maybe on Amazon or something. And yourself?
Can I have 2?
Nope.
Okay, it's gonna be my 1. Okay.
And I said current, so
Okay, current. Okay, it's Boss Bitch.
yeah.
It's my favorite.
Who's
it's
that
my
by?
favorite
Do you remember
one.
that? Because you told me
That is Christine. Oh my God.
I'll look it up and I
Yes.
will also put it in there because
And I know
we
it,
had
but
a
I've read
conversation.
3
You said
books
she was
since I've just
great.
read that. Oh,
Okay.
it's so good. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. Anything else? We good? Rap
Yeah,
City? We're
we're
done?
good.
All right. Go out and have the courage to conquer the life you want to live, baby.